Well, hi, all my LGBT friends and others, Christians, and if you've come to my channel, it's probably not by mistake. I believe that God does give us divine appointments in our life, and so this might be one of them for you. I wanted to start off that went to my neighborhood church, Satakoy Church, and just had a wonderful time there. Holy Spirit was definitely in that place, and it just such a wonderful, loving feeling, being in a place where everybody, loves the Lord and loves God, and just singing praises and worshiping, and um, just just a wonderful, wonderful, experience there. And it's interesting to find out who your neighbors are, that because it's a local church, it's like a neighborhood church, and who goes. And uh, so I got to meet. It was both my spouse and I were like, oh, there's June. Oh, there's different people that we know in the community, due to businesses or just, acquaintances through, various, avenues of our life. And so it's just kind of neat. And one of the neat things that happened is that there is a young mother. Her name is Anna. And she was here visiting. She has like 4 children, and they were sitting behind us. And the kids were just, enjoying themselves, and I was enjoying them and everything. And so, I didn't know who she was, but anyway, she got up and was introduced that she presently lives in Israel. And I was like, oh, pricked my ears up. And she had become a Christian. She's Jewish, but she had become a Christian in her 20s. And but she really didn't know that much about her Jewish roots until Christians started to share with her, oh, I see that you have Shabbat and you have this and that. And she goes on to, to explain that. But the interesting part to me about her testimony is the prophetic coming to life of her being called back to Israel, being called to Israel for ministry, and to live there and to work there. And I thought, wow, that is so cool to actually, of course, I watched Stephen Ben Danun, and I've heard of others, and I support the Christian Jewish coalition to help Jewish people all over the world to get back to Israel, and I donate to that foundation. And but her experience was the doors just opened for her. So when that happens in my own life, I know that it's a sign to me that I'm going in the right direction. And to immigrate to Israel and to become a citizen is not easy. You have to answer a lot of questions, and one of the questions they ask is, do you believe that Jesus is the Messiah? Have you ever been baptized? Did you ever go to a Christian church? You know, uh, so, and to be Jewish, I think your mother has to be Jewish, and but because of what had happened in the Holocaust, if your grandparents were Jewish, then you're Jewish enough. And so she had to get all kinds of papers to prove that, that she was Jewish, and that that her grandparents were buried there in Israel. And so she had to get a letter from a rabbi, and she hadn't been to temple and she didn't know anyone, and she didn't have anyone that she could actually go to. She exhausted those avenues. And she also had to get pictures of her grandparents' grave. And so when she had called over there, the lady was like, well, who are they? Da, da, da. And when she mentions the name, she goes, oh, Well, they were my neighbors for 30 years, you know. And so she's sure, sure. So she, because she thought she would have to fly over there, take a picture of the gravesite, come back, you know, and go through all that rigmarole. But she didn't. So they did it for her. So things just opened up for her. And in her profession, she's in education, and they're very, I would say, middle class, up and coming, business like, and that they want, and they're very successful, and they want to see the same. So if you're sort of a different class, if you will, more down to earth, sort of hippie-ish, organic, that's not gonna cut it with them. So she had to change a lot of things about herself, and that was new, for her. So anyway, just interesting, prophetic, witnessing at church. So that's really good. Today, I just wanted to bring to your attention some more things, about Israel, and then also how to put on the armor of God. We talked about this in church, and so I thought I would share with you the Ephesians chapter 6, and I would start at verse 10 and just read all the way to verse 24. And then, of course, it goes into Philippians. So it's just talking about that we wrestle against not bone and flesh, but against principalities and against powers and darkness. And so it's not flesh and bone, okay? And wickedness and high places. So, and it tells you what to do to combat this. And I think this is something that we should always do whenever we leave the house. Pray, and to make sure that you are girded with the loins of truth around your belt, and having, the breastplate of righteousness and the shield of faith and the helmet of salvation, and feet ready and that are swift to speak about the gospel, and have the sword of God in your mouth, which is meaning that you speak the Lord's truth and words, and biblically, talk to those that you feel are coming against you, or if you feel that there's some sort of evil or whatever, that you say that it is written that, and blah blah blah, whatever you're going to say, because Satan sees in his mind the two-edged sword coming out of your mouth, and he knows that it's true. He can't fight against it, because it's already been written. It's already there, and he has no defense against that. And so I would suggest that you do that in your own daily lives, because we are living in the end times. And so, to comfort each other, knowing that the Lord is coming soon, and we will be raptured. And so, yeah. And in the meantime, amen. So in the meantime, I'm working on a book about the natural eunuch, and trying to put all of the things that I've gathered together into just one form. And I'm not sure what I'll be doing with it or how it will work. I've never written anything, really. I'm not a writer. So need your prayers and help on this. So any more information that you want to send my way, that's fine, because I can always add it in. And yeah, so I have to cite a lot of people that I've, taken and have received information from, and I'm not, um, like I said, I've never written a book, so I really need to be careful and give credit where credit's due, that kind of thing. Excuse me. And so yeah, so I've been working on that, and working on my grammar and all that good stuff. And so be praying about that, if you will. What else? I wanted to also to talk about Israel a little bit more. Uh, Israel had their gay parade, and there was he looked like an Orthodox Jewish person who was in jail, released, and committed the same crime. And he was in jail for stabbing gay people. And as soon as they let him out, he went right back and he stabbed 6 people. And one little girl of 16 years old passed away from her injuries. So I ask that you be praying for those people and those families that have had to go through that traumatic experience. And that's why I want so much to get this book out there, and do my part to help people to understand that long time ago, for 1,000 years, 1,500 years, the term natural eunuch, which included all, the gay people and our LGBT people of today, were really the eunuch back then. Whether you were naturally born that way or whether you were made so by men, and that meant that they would, purposely crush your testicles or pound your testicles or even castrate you. There's different methods that they used, and or that you chose to be celibate. And why in the West all of that knowledge was lost. And so that will be, and I've talked about this before in my other videos, but that all of that will be in my book. And my little, it's going to be a little book. It's not going to be a big book. And I'm hoping to bring this to ministers throughout my community so that they can, speak from the Bible, what the Bible has to say. What did Jesus have to say? What did Philip have to say about it? What did the Lord have to say about it? And there's many Christians who are out there who just don't understand and who are not always going to be ready to hear. And even in Matthew 19:12, Jesus says, those of you who can hear this, hear it. Those of you who can receive this message, receive it. And I think that was for specific people like myself, and that we are to take that message to everyone, and let our life be a witness to others. So anyway, so that's what the book's about. And so I would hope that you would pray for me, and so that I can get it out there to everyone. Anyway, enjoy your week, and may God bless you. Okay, bye-bye.